30 minutes, but their late game team fighting was crisp. SKT also passed that test. They had many great comebacks as well. We expected this game to go long. RNG have tried to increase the pace of it. The last couple of picks haven't worked.
Here again, looking at Xiao, who their ulti pop to get the Shen ulti out, and the team's going to run back away, but Let Me will find the one-man taunt. Wolf going to be the target, and here comes Faker. It's going to be the early disengage of Xiao, who blockets the shield pump. They still will not alive, but bang! And the team just picking them all off. The Twitch getting all of them. Double kill already. Looking for the next point, but still forced to disengage. Now Faker jumped from the wall to stay alive.
SK Telecom not finding value with this Blitzcrank pick. Wolf goes in, fails to get the priority target, and then he's sitting bait right here. Uzi finds the kill, opening up onto Bang.
Yeah, Uzi actually able to get off the flank. He died in the wombo of the Galio engage pick before. This time skirts around, kills, and assassinates Tristana, and they want to love this base right now.
A few seconds, still in for the push back throw bonus. Going to be dropped off all the same. 30, 20 seconds of the respawn for the major carry. It will be the inhibitor, then out. Elder Dragon, Baron, both alive.
RNG gonna reset here and travel back to that Baron pit you're talking about. They could just be setting it up for the vision, or they could actually bait more out of SK Telecom. Bang is reviving now, so he'll be able to walk from base to try and join, but RNG rushing it down.
Rushing down the Baron, no ulti available for Uzi if there is a fight to be had, but no one is even close to in range. Let me an easy recall. There's the pickup for RNG.
And SKT trying to get Elder and rush it down, but there's no Tristana here. So the speed is not that fast, and the redemption, just a check.
Teleport coming in from Shen. He'll have the flank onto Bang here to try and come from behind.
Let's see if they get this fight in time. Baron buff on. The ulti's still not there for Uzi.
RNG stuck to their convictions. What were they good at? Late game team fights. They went for the Twitch Janna. They did not care about giving up Galio, about giving up the early to mid game. Their read was, if it goes long, we will win. And their read was correct on the day, at least for game one. And the confidence that will bring RNG, it's indescribable.
The question we pose to SKT coming into this match, would they be able to push RNG off of what we've seen from them this entire tournament?
They tried.
They tried, and they failed. It does bring back memories of Chicago, though, where RNG again opened up with the victory.
I mean, we've seen these series almost all go the distance. These games have been close almost the whole time through the quarterfinals. There is still life in SKT, we know.
RNG is in SKT's head. They're playing blank for the first time at the start of a best-of-5 when Peanut was there. They're adjusting their style, not playing their own, and trusting in themselves. They brought a lot new. A little bit of it worked, a lot of it didn't. How they go in the pick and ban for game two, I'm so excited to find out.
Best of 5, there's more to be played for sure. So now to get our analyst thoughts on that win, let's hand it over to Dash and our wonderful analysts.
Thank you, Freak. RNG strike the first blow in our best of 5 today, and we're going to start where they left off, talking about this champion select. This tournament's been a lot about adaptation in that pick ban phase, and both of these teams came out today showing us something a little bit new.
Yeah, after the amazing intro, that was one of the coolest drafts we've seen, because we've seen a lot of adaptation throughout this season, but then even just the first phase of picks, the fact that RNG showed the Soraka to potentially scare away the Janna pick set the table for a very cool sequence of events.
Yeah, and the fact that it was the opening up of the Sejuani, so they're kind of baiting again. They're calling the bluff. You know, take the Janna. We don't necessarily need it or want it because they do have the Soraka, and they allowed it to get. It allowed them to get the Janna either way.
And I mean, when you talk about the Janna, I think you then have to talk about the fact that this Blitzcrank, SKT obviously knows that they're giving over Janna. They were happy with that matchup. They know that RNG has this propensity to go late. They want to try to play this scaling comp, and a lot of it really came down to, can you execute with the picks that you've taken? With Blitzcrank, you have to be proactive. You have to hit hits. You have to be able to lane bully, and they really were never able to get anything from it.
Which is why I really want to focus in on kind of two picks that speak a lot to me, which is the Shin and the Gangplank, and both their relations to the Twitch pick. I agree with you wholeheartedly. If you have the Blitzcrank, you need to execute down their bottom, and every single time SKT went down there to try to make something happen. The Shin was just a massive thorn in their side. And the beautiful thing was talking to Deficio in between the match, what Shin protects Twitch early by denying a lot of the ability to try to kill him, to exploit his weak laning phase, Twitch then pays back to Shin in the late game. Huni could never split push, he could never overextend, because it's so easy for Shin to for Twitch to wander over into Shin's lane and to threaten that.
And I think this draft was also indicative of SKT not being happy with the status quo. They did not necessarily play that well with the standard champions. As we've said, SKT has looked weaker than they have at other world championships. So they made this giant switch into the fact that they were pushed to the Zac thanks to very clever Ivern and Nidalee bans. But then the next question is, like, can they actually play this well? And the Blitzcrank in this game from Wolf was almost useless. I don't remember a single good hook that he landed.
It was pretty much straight up a 4v5, but I do think we have to give credit as well to MLXG for playing around what SKT had drafted, because I think his first gank was fantastic and critical in
reference to MLXG's play in this game. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first gank thrown to the top lane, as well as the preceding fight brought to you by Acer Predator.
And it's so important to actually do this, because one of the reasons people pick GP into Shen is because you can safely farm in there. Early game, you can scale up and then you can take over the Shen, but they never gave them an opportunity to get there. And then the Shen is able to get down to the bot side. They're able to make these effective plays.
Yeah, and a GP teleporting in here would not be nearly as threatening. Huni also was pretty low in that lane, so couldn't teleport in. It's absolutely the Shen that set the table for Uzi to get ahead. These kills were spoon-fed to Uzi.
And it's also the fact that if that GP wasn't put behind, think of how devastating that champion would be on RNG's composition. A GP ult destroyed Uzi and the Baron Pit. A random barrel could just completely blow Twitch and Malzahar away. Like, you look at SKT's composition, they had so many different pieces and options to backline dive, to hit the Twitch, to deny everything. They were just unable to execute on it because the Shin was used so effectively.
And I also think we have to give credit over to this Malzahar pick, because I think Malzahar is so strong in the Galio, and if you're going to give the Galio up, you need to have answers planned for it. The Janna, fantastic disengage, can allow you to survive through some of this crowd control that he's putting forth, and the Malzahar allows you to actually have the Galio as a viable target, because you're putting